Chapter 3042 opens with Mr. and Mrs. Levine grappling with the fallout from Samira's behavior at a recent banquet hosted by the Erickson family. Samira had engaged in a confrontation with Cameron, resulting in Cameron retaliating by throwing a drink in Samira's face. This incident leaves Mrs. Levine both embarrassed and self critical, as she internalizes Samira's actions as a failure of her parenting. She reflects on her disappointment, believing that despite her and her husband's careful upbringing, they failed to instill the necessary values and restraint in their daughter. Mr. Levine, however, offers a more tempered perspective. He reassures his wife that children are inherently prone to making mistakes and that Samira's actions, while regrettable, are part of her learning process. He attributes her behavior to a momentary lapse fueled by jealousy and possibly impaired judgment due to alcohol consumption. Emphasizing compassion and understanding, Mr. Levine encourages his wife not to dwell excessively on their perceived shortcomings as parents. Together, they decide that Samira should undergo a period of reflection and personal growth by spending time in remote mountainous areas. This experience is intended to help her develop empathy, humility, and a clearer understanding of her actions by engaging in meaningful altruistic activities. The Levines view this as an opportunity for Samira to learn from her mistakes, fostering personal development and moral fortitude. This approach underscores their belief in corrective discipline and the importance of experiential learning in shaping character. Transitioning to the Lab family, the chapter shifts focus to Carrie Lab's return to the family villa after the banquet. She enters the room, expecting Mr. Lab to have already left, but finds him still present. His unexpected presence and intense scrutiny heighten her anxiety as she anticipates judgment based on her actions during the event. Despite her efforts to support Karen and believe she performed admirably, Mr. Lab's demeanor conveys disappointment and skepticism regarding her performance. Her nervousness stems from her fear of not meeting his expectations and the potential repercussions of perceived inadequacies. She grapples with the feelings of insecurity and frustration, especially after believing she had acted correctly by defending Karen against Samira's provocations. Mr. Lab's cold and critical assessment, labeling her performance as barely qualified and suggesting that Karen remains doubtful of her, further erodes her confidence. The interaction between Karen and Mr. Lab highlights the oppressive and manipulative environment she endures within the Lab household. Despite her loyalty and efforts to align with family expectations, she faces continuous scrutiny and under evaluation. This dynamic exacerbates her internal struggles as she seeks approval and validation, but instead encounters persistent doubt and criticism from a figure of authority.